Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back,
We're back.
with the review of Dangal.
Dangal.
Such a popular movie, 8.3 on IMDb. Amir Khan.
Yeah. At his best.
Yeah, at his best, right?
So
good.
Let me tell you, body transformation-wise, unreal, right? I mean, that was crazy, was it not? Like, holy cow.
The acting was great all around. The whole crew
Did Geeta's dad get locked up? Is what we're gonna look up.
That's gonna be like.
Yeah. So I no, right? The thing we'll believe the AI. Yeah. His coach did ban him from entering the hall during a session from overtraining. Okay. So there's a little bit of truth.
A different time. Yeah.
Well, but that did happen in the movie where Dad was like training them a lot. And then they had to do it. I forgot.
Wait, go show more. Hit show more.
Yeah.
I'm reading the rest.
So the Hindi biography of him, Dangal, is loosely based on the film. Amir Khan started the film.
Geeta said that 99% of what is shown in the film is true. So that is close to her life.
As is typical in biopics. So I think the biggest thing was that the fact that
they kind of had to make the coach a villain because.
But here's the thing though, the coach actually did ban him though, so that means they definitely didn't like each other.
They can add those elements in there of like, okay, in the final game that happened, like
and they made the final game intense as well.
They needed to also up the ante at the end of the movie to make it more. Like they've already had 3 games, they had to make it more intense by having that element of. What?
And I think it put it more on her, like, okay, she needs to do this, not just for her dad, but for all of India. And that was really interesting. So it definitely was meant to, like, I like how they added that. It was a little dramatic, of course, but
I had read that the coach obviously did not like this movie.
Yeah, because this puts him in a very negative light.
Yeah.
And while...
Because they had to kind of use... Yeah. They had to prop someone up as a villain in order to kind of, like, build conflict. So it's kind of sad for the coach in real life, but it's very natural for sports movies to do that.
I do like that Geeta, the main character in this movie, said it's 99% true. That's solid.
Yeah. Well, I think she probably was...
Based on her life.
Speaking... Yeah. About like her experiences with training in the morning and the tough love and everything. They probably consulted the whole family like really closely when they were writing the script.
It also looks like too. I'm just reading it now. It looks like that the final game was only 2 sets and she kind of crushed. I think the actual kind of climax of in real life was when she faced the Nigerian. I think that was really like the actual because that night because they even said in the movie that this was the one that was going to be the lead contender for gold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so in this
she kind of upset the whole balance by beating the Nigerian woman.
Sure. And then she beat the Australian. So it really that kind of was the big moment, which it kind of felt like in this movie too.
Yeah, it did.
But they kind of needed to make it feel more intense.
Yeah, it felt like this. Yeah, I think we discussed this at a prior time as well. It felt Disney-fied in a couple small ways. But then the rest of the movie I felt was like very, very well done.
Yeah, like 3/4 of the movie, like them training, that all was super.
Seemed felt really so natural, and the performances were so natural.
Really did.
But by the girls when they were younger and when they were older.
Who's the actresses? For
so the elder,
such a good.
They were
actress
incredible.
Was so Geeta was Fatima.
Fatima. You were dyslexic.
Well, it's also. It's not my first language. Fatima, all right, she did Dangal.
Ludo, that's one people have wanted us to watch. We'll have to check that out.
What about the younger sister?
She did really good. Fatima did really good. And then, let's see, Geeta, young Babita.
Zaira Wasim.
She's
the gal that
we've seen her.
Yeah, because she was a really good in Secret Superstar. But then she there was some drama and such.
Yeah, I think that was her last movie. Or like after
she's a star, and
when she was in the limelight, there was some.
So unfortunate.
She dropped out of acting. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Got too much.
Makes sense. Yeah, I thought overall the actors were really good. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, acting was good, like by everyone. I think the coach, in terms of his acting, he was definitely very one note.
Yep.
But I think that's natural because they kind of wrote him to be a villain, and so he had to act like a villain.
Sure.
So they could have made him maybe a little bit more like 3-dimensional as a character, but I don't mind, that they didn't.
They kind of just had him a straight Disney villain.
It served its purpose for the story. Yeah.
Yep.
He was straight up a Disney villain. Yeah, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
He didn't really have a lot of complexity to him, really.
But they needed something there to kind of continue to build conflict and tension in the third act, and that was what his role was.
And it makes sense that the coach would want her to change techniques. Like, she would change some of her techniques when she goes into that role, like, because she was being taught just by her father, and now she's moving on to a bigger thing.
The old and the new, and the
I do agree that it made sense to have that coach in there to be kind of like the villain or the one that brought about.
It was very natural.
The logical choice. The logical choice. And it sounds like too that there was actually some conflict that they did have. So when you're making a story, you're like,
kind of lean into
I can make it a bit more pronounced, perhaps,
something
than what it was.
Really like that they did for a lot of the matches. I mean, save for the last one, which kind of served as like the climactic moment. But for a lot of the matches, they felt very real. Like they really they were very restrained with not doing a whole lot of slow motion and like quick cuts, and it felt like you were spectating a real match, which I appreciated because there's so much more tension when you're watching a real match. Like when you're watching the Olympics versus when you're watching a movie about a match in the Olympics. Because the movie dramatizes it and you know you're watching a movie. And we kind of got that with the very last match against the Australian. But for the most part, for the rest of the matches, it felt real, which made it feel unknown what was going to happen.
One of my favorite parts of the movie.
The actual
good.
It was so. I got lost. I forgot they were actors. I was like, they're just wrestling. This is amazing.
I know exactly. You forget that it's a movie, which makes it feel more intense and. You know, because in a movie you can kind of predict what's going to happen, but in real life, not so much. So I like that they took a more realistic approach with depicting the matches, at least like once she makes it to the nationals and stuff. So
I
thought that was really good. I liked that.
Watching it a second time kind of reinforces what I thought the first time. So like I mean it withstands like a second watch, I think, pretty well. I thought same things I liked the first time, like the second time. It's a long movie. So I feel like our same complaints, definitely. Like kind of the little plot line that they introduced just for drama, and then the length of the movie kind of still stand true, I think. But I mean,
I would
really
say I think for me, I thought it actually moved along pretty quickly, which I liked for being a long movie. You can kind of feel when it's long.
Especially when it was doing the matches. Like,
it didn't
that went by so
as much
fast.
As it could have.
It did not lull, which I really appreciated. I think that my biggest gripe is definitely the ending where the dad gets locked in. I thought that was kind of a...
I thought it was cheesy that he gets locked in a closet, but I did like that he wasn't there because I think it was necessary.
I think he just should have done it a different way.
Sure. Yeah, you know? I could see that. But that's like, I don't know, if I were a screenwriter, that's probably how I would write it anyway, because then it's the coach's... If you're propping up the coach as a villain, it has to be his action. So
the elements that you introduce.
I know. It's just annoying because like that kind of a thing
is... But it did feel very like...
outlandish.
Okay.
And it also felt like I wanted to Google, like, did that really happen? And then it's like, oh, it didn't. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's fair. I liked that he heard the national anthem at the end, and that
that was
confirmed,
cool.
Powerful,
you know,
super.
And because then he needed a moment, because throughout the movie it's about them having faith in their father, but then at the end it gets kind of flipped, and now he needs to have faith in his daughter. And I liked that. That was really a good reversal at the end.
Maybe you're switching my ways on it. Maybe I didn't hate it as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, I liked.
She's convincing me.
The script.
Stand
strong. I like that the story was
character development once again.
Yeah, it was.
Another plot.
Yeah, another plot.
I like it was long, but I think the story was very tight. It was very solid. A lot of things came full circle. It didn't feel like there was a lot that was like wasted or you know, which can sometimes happen with longer movies of Indian
nature.
Or
they're just long.
It kind of goes long, and there's some things where it's like, okay, I don't know if that was totally necessary.
I'll tell you this, Sadie. If you would have watched the movie last time, the other movie we watched, it was 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
That movie had a lot of parts that you were like, okay, I
let's
don't
move
know.
on.
In fact, I would argue most of the movie was like that, where it was like more of like you just watched it for like it was more of a.
Yeah, it was it.
There was no inciting incident. It was just like.
I don't mind a slow burn or non-conventional, like.
I'm just
you know,
playing around. I get your point.
But I did like that this almost everything in this movie felt extremely intentional.
Yeah.
And to me it felt a little bit more perhaps thoughtful or artistic because, you know, and there's instinct and there's feeling with art, but there's also a lot of like, you know, some things have to make it on the cutting room floor. You have to kind of kill your darlings with filmmaking, and it felt like they kind of made some sacrifices to come out with a really tight-knit story that comes full circle, and I kind of appreciated that. Perhaps I made it a little bit more Western.
Well, yeah, maybe that was what I was going to say. Maybe that's a little bit more Disney.
I think that could maybe be where more of the Disney
but
kind
to
of
the
came
positive,
in.
maybe in a way.
I think in a positive way.
But also in a negative way too.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I like slow burn movies. I don't think everything needs to be the conventional, like, Aristotle 3-act structure when it comes to storytelling. But I think it really worked for this movie. Sports movies in general, I think.
Yeah, sports movies are very formulaic.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm normally, even though I love sports, which
we're
is
all
really
not.
strange to say, I love sports, but I'm not a fan of sports movies.
I think we all are like that.
Which is super weird.
That's totally true.
Yeah.
We're not really sport movie people. Because it follows a similar thread, typically.
Yeah. I did connect, I think, I related a lot with the main character and her relationship with her dad in sports, because, like, I grew up playing volleyball, and that was kind of like pushed on me by my dad. But then I kind of grew to love it because I was forced to play it, and because we started with soccer, and then my dad was like, "You're getting too tall. You're gonna play volleyball instead." I was like, "But I like soccer." But then I played volleyball, and I was like, "Oh, this is way better." So I definitely could relate a lot to the daughters, you know, and kind of the relationship with their dad.
Millions of girls.
The
probably
kind of
too.
coach and father dynamic. Yeah, I think this is the first movie you guys have presented to me that like truly was relatable for me.
Okay, hey, there we go.
I could get a lot more into it. Yeah, the other one because you guys make me watch such stressful movies.
Commenters for voting on this one. They voted on it. So
seal of approval from Sadie.
Yeah, you got the
guys. Let us know what other movies Sadie should watch.
All the movies we've watched so far have been good, but this one I could personally get into. Yeah.
I totally agree.
I also love the
music
music in this movie too.
Yeah.
The music was so good.
So good. So that was just
I loved it too. Ratings?
Yeah, let's do it. So Letterboxd out of 5
Yeah,
stars.
I gotta mark a rewatch here. What did I rate it the first
here?
time? That's the question.
Let us know in the comments.
Sadie, what would you rate it first before you're influenced by our ratings? You rate it first.
What was it called?
Dangal.
Dangal.
Dangal. Dangal, Dangal. Dangal, Dangal.
That was a good song.
Dangal, Dangal.
Okay,
sounds like Dangle. Dangle, Dangle.
This is tough.
Sadie's looking at the results right now. She's looking at our letterbox, ladies and gentlemen. What shall we pick? Oh, she's staring at it. She hit the like button. She liked it. Now the rating out of 5 stars.
Here we go.
Oh, I see a star. It's going to 2. We've moved to 3.
What in the world?
Half a star above the 3.
More than 2.
She's contemplating. 3. It's at the 3.5 right now. She's thinking.
Now I gotta move my rating down based on Sadie's.
Wait, what? No, don't let anyone.
Are you locked in?
Don't let anyone's rating.
She's thinking. Relatability. What will she do?
I did 3.5.
3.5 stars, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Wow. I also did 3.5.
Guys, I actually went up from 3.5 to 4 because on another rewatch.
Yeah.
It really
and I believe
was powerful even on the rewatch. That's
I think I saw Michael get a little maybe I shouldn't call you out, but I looked over and maybe I thought your eyes got a little watery.
Oh, they didn't get watery, but they got emotional.
Guys, in the comments, try to find the
I almost
watch back and see if you can see it. Because I don't think I
This might be for our
remember it.
Patreon members because they'll see the whole cut.
Yeah.
So.
Or you'll just look back and see me staring at Michael's eyeball.
You'll have to get on our Patreon.
Get on the Patreon
So
page.
are we
Tell them to
all
go on
at
Patreon.
So what's our
So what,
ratings?
you gave it what,
3.5?
man?
I gave it 3.
On
I gave it
rewatch, I
4.
gave it 3.5.
Wait, what?
What'd you give it
Wait,
before?
Ben went down.
I'm
You went
astounded.
down?
And you said you were gonna go.
I
literally
liked-
were like, on rewatch.
Ben is in
It
shambles.
did, but then I was
How are
just
you gonna
All the
I mean,
attention is now
I
on
asked
him.
myself right now. I was like, would I watch this again?
A third
Yes.
time?
And I was like, I don't think so.
You can't rate a movie
I know, it's
based
true.
on whether you can watch it a third or
Yeah,
a
it's
fourth
true. It's
Well,
true.
actually,
the rewatchability.
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
And I
mean,
went
that's
up.
that's
I
very
did
valid.
rate
Ben
That's
went
very
down.
valid.
I would say on average
that just
most
adds to the-
movies
It felt okay.
lose
This is my. I guess this is my
rewatchability after
summary.
the
It was
second watch.
really close to a 3.5 the first time I rated it,
Wait,
And you
Ben,
bumped it to a
But-
4.
you bumped
and
it,
I
you
bumped
were
it
at
to
a
a 4.
Right.
Yeah.
But then now on rewatch, it felt longer to me.
Oh,
Well,
this
that's
okay.
because you've seen it. Before.
Exactly, and I'm like,
so
oh,
you
maybe
went
that'd
down
be
to
a
a
little
3.5.
bit, yeah.
Interesting.
Which is the same as Sadie and Mike.
Yeah, but
No,
you
but
went
I
down.
went the other way. I was like,
direction.
on
It's the
rewatch, it was
principle.
better, and I went
Yeah.
up a half star.
I know,
No,
that's funny
It
to me.
just shows the.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it's a very
ratings.
good. It's a good film. We're obviously, as we've established, we're very tough. We have
Critics.
tough rating systems.
Uh,
so
We're rough.
3.5 is
You
very
have a
solid.
tough rating.
I
get
yeah, it's
two.
true.
That was why I went 3.5.
I enjoy a lot. I like.
I'm
go a
super
little
curious. I'm
higher.
sure Letterboxd can tell the average rating of the movies, like over all your ratings, and I'm curious what that would be. Like mine is close to a middle finger, so it's like 3.5 is like the average.
Wow.
I think
But
all
like,
ours are
very
I think
3.5.
we're all pretty
Yeah.
close.
What a way to
like,
put that.
yeah.
Close to
Well,
me.
I intentionally
Oh, Sadie
try to
does a-
only
oh,
put
yeah,
like
watch your-
quality
Sadie has
movies
nothing,
on
yeah.
my letterbox.
Yeah,
I don't
really?
rate like
you don't use
Yeah,
it as a
it's
diary. To,
no,
like, see
I don't.
what-
I don't put.
Diary of a Wimpy
I don't
Kid.
like put Despicable Me 4 on my
Okay.
letterbox.
See,
that's
I
where
keep.
I
I
would
try and
lose
keep
my
the
mind.
junk food out.
But we're
of it.
all
Yeah.
record keepers here. Yeah, my top
Yeah.
one is a 3.5. My top category for
How do you?
stars.
How are you?
Okay, so
seeing
we're all
what you're-
like straight
Right there.
in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Sadie's is
I gotta
fours.
go through and start doing half stars.
That's
Oh
a
yeah,
strong
yeah.
four.
Half stars.
I have
Oh, yeah,
started
that's
doing
right.
half
I know
Yeah,
she's
that's-
anti half stars.
Yeah.
But guys,
Oh,
follow us
no,
on
not anymore.
Letterboxd.
I
There's more
gotta-
flexibility.
Links
I
in
gotta go
the
through and fix
description
that.
on our
follow us
Letterboxd.
on
Yeah.
Like and
Letterboxd.
subscribe and comment and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vote on the next
Yeah, like
movie.
I gave Civil War 4 stars, so I was like,
Oh.
I can't give this one 4 stars because it doesn't quite
Okay.
hold up to the other.
Oh,
If you're
there you
really
go.
similar
Civil
to
War.
it.
all right. The
But it was
denouement.
still really good.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you next time.